they are so valuable for everyone to do at any point in your career, right? The reason why they're so important is because they just get you some more networking and access. It's a good excuse to network, right? Which obviously a network is super important because it gets you jobs, it gets you information, it gets you, just a lot of resources. So informational interviews, what are they? They are pretty much just meeting someone and gathering information. It's that simple, right? Being able to get time and talk to someone that knows something of value for you is really, really helpful. How you do it, I think first you do your research about the person, right? You don't have to spend 24 hours, 48 hours learning every single thing about this person. But if you can find some type of connection, right? You both worked at the same company, you both are from the Midwest or from LA or something, maybe even just like we are in the same field, which probably that's why you're hitting them up anyway, but find some connection that's like really, really helpful, because that makes you stand out, makes it more personal, makes them feel like, you vibe with someone. I know I got hit up by, I think, a girl named Samantha. I can't remember. And she was also from the Midwest out here on the West Coast in the Bay Area. And she's like, oh my gosh, it's great to see someone from the Midwest, and that means a lot to me because the Midwest is like very, that was where home was, right? So that immediately caught my attention. And eventually I was like, oh, I got to talk to this person, Another thing is, I think it's always great when you do your research to mention something that's happened, right? Let me pull up what Michael said, because I think he hits a lot of these things that I'm talking about. He said, hi, Sam. Congrats on the job at EG. So already there, it's just like a nicety, he makes me feel good about myself. He's congratulating me. So first of all, he knows who I am. And then he said, recently I found your informational YouTube video about getting a job in the esports industry and I love them. So again, he's stroking my ego. I'm feeling better about myself, all this kind of stuff. And then he said, you should definitely share them in the Genius League Discord server because many in there are aspiring esports professionals like myself. Best, Michael. So right, there's already a connection. He even found so much value in my stuff that he's even saying that it would be worth sharing into this Discord channel. Again, like, this is actually something small that he's doing, is he's already providing me value in like, hey, if you haven't thought about it, post in here, it'll help you grow. One, he made a personal connection actually he didn't really make a personal connection, but that's another thing he could have done if he found a way. But he obviously did his research and knows who I am, right? He's congratulating and stroking my ego, which is great too. And then he's also providing me value. So that's really, really awesome. Also, I read the whole thing. That's 1, 2, 3 sentences outside of the hi, Sam, and best, Michael, That's really, really quick. That's so easy to read. I could probably see that on my phone notifications and like get the gist of it without even expanding it, right? So that's really nice. I've been hit up with cold DMs that are 3 paragraphs long that tell me their whole life story. And, luckily for them, someone like me might have the time to read all of that actually, because I'm curious. But someone like Devin Nash or Ethan Evans or someone that's really busy and like higher up where their time is really expensive, and they get like 1 million of those emails every year, you're not gonna get through to them unless you're really, really lucky. So again, Michael did a really, really great job reaching out to me. And then, even from there, one improvement I could think is just giving out the ask right away. The last line is like, hey, if you have time, I would love to spend 15 minutes to set up a like informational interview with you to talk about like what your experiences were like at GG or something like that, right? But another thing with this approach, he's waiting for my response. I respond, then he's able to expound a little bit more information, tell a little bit more about himself, and then ultimately like ask what he wants from me, right? So I think he said, if you have time, I would love to chat about what you enjoy the most about project management, since you've been able to experience many different high-level positions. PM is a position I'm really interested in, and I would love to hear your thoughts, smiley face. When I get reached out to, I already know in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, what does this person want, right? Sometimes it's just short and they're just congratulating me, and I got a lot of those DMs, especially from people that I kind of already know. So that's really nice. But for new people, I'm like, okay, what are they asking for? And I don't want to actually go back and forth, especially because sometimes I check my DMs and then I don't check it for another like 2 hours or a day. So the conversation gets slow. So if you're able to come out, boom, like, hey, I'm making a positive first impression, and then ask as well in the same DM, I think that could be really, really helpful too. I know the key thing for things is like you just want a response first, because once you get a response, the likelihood of you getting ghosted is less. But at the same time, getting all out there and being rejected right away or ghosted, that wastes less of my time or the recipient's time. But again, I think it's okay with what he did. And I would also say the more work you are able to do to make it easier for the person to meet with you, the better. So one thing that happened was like, they even said, hey, what's your availability? Are you available on Wednesday at this time? Like just being able to answer that yes and no worked really well for me. In addition to that, they immediately just send like, hey, if you send me your email address, I can sell you a Google Meet, video conference room, so we could just jump into that. It went on to my calendar. It had even like some information that I needed about the person, like their resume or something like that. And then I just had to click on a button and join the call and be there on time or a few minutes late, and bam, it's all set up. So that was like so easy for me to do, right? It just makes it work fast and easy, and just like makes my life, the person that you're trying to get in contact with, like just a really, really smooth process. The more DMs you have to go back and forth, that just means more opportunities for things not to happen, right? This reminds me of like marketing, right? If it takes 5 clicks for someone to put a product in their cart, payment information, and sign out, that's 5 steps where they can exit out of that funnel, right? That's why Amazon one-click buy shopping is like a huge feature that made Amazon a ton of money, right? I would also think about the platform, right? If they're actually on LinkedIn, most likely they get less DMs on LinkedIn. I think. Maybe if you find the email address, that might be the best way to approach some people. Sometimes on a Discord server, except like, getting those like DMs from non-friends, those DMs might be closed. Sometimes Twitter is better, sometimes Instagram better. Sometimes like waiting until their Twitch channel goes live and then hitting them up and having a conversation because they can't escape you. Those thinking about the best medium to approach them is also smart, Also, another thing is persistence. I try to get in contact with like Travis multiple times over years, and finally it ended up working out, right? So sometimes you need persistence and you need repetition to actually break through. And if it doesn't work the first time, just be active and try to butter them up a little bit more. Take it slow, wine and dine them until you slide into those DMs again. You know what I mean? Whenever you cold DM people, you got to realize you're going to have a horrible response rate, and that's okay. You're just trying to get numbers, right? So you're going to DM someone, it's going to feel really awkward. You're going to hopefully YouTube and read articles and search and figure out like, how do I cold DM someone, or how do I cold call someone? And then you're going to do it, spend like 30 minutes trying to figure this out, or ponder over 5 days, and then you're not going to get a response. That is what happens. That's okay. You have to remember that that's fine, and that's what happens. I actually think if you get a 10% response rate, that's like really, really good.